I told my mom from a very young age, I don't want to get married. I do not. And she kept telling me, niko na mapepo inafaa niende niombewe. But I told her, no, because generally, from my point of view, the example of marriage you set for me, I do not want it. If that is what marriage is, check it. And so my dating history has been crazy because generally, I have in my head, I've had a very bad example of like anytime I think of relationships, I just think torture. Nigekumbuka, this human being was even older than me. My Lord. Nafika kwa nyumba yetu, katiba imechange. Naingia hivi, a new government amejiweka kwa kiti vibasa. Na hana nguo, amejifunga tu kaleso kingine hapa kadogo kamekaa. Who are you? Eh? Who am I? Hey? Nikamuuliza, who are you though? Huyu mtu mwenye our house, the owner of our house, kakuja. Akaniuliza, what are you doing here? What do you mean, what am I doing here? What are you doing here? Get out. I'm with my girlfriend. Eh? Woof! Hello, my name is Rosina Sharon, and you can call me a cat, for I have lived many lives. I'm also called the Queen of Blend. Majority of you would know me as such, Queen of Blend, the best makeup educator worldwide. I teach makeup. I am a lawyer and an incoming professor, by the way, because I'm going to get my doctorate someday. And I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to tell my story today. It's a story of so many, let me tell you, twists and turns, very many of them, but a very beautiful story nonetheless. And I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get to learn from me because, guys, I have made so many mistakes, so many of them. But yeah, I hope you learn from it. Learn from me, please, and thank you, because I'm here to be your example, you could say. And I'm happy to be here with a shared moments with Justus to tell my story today. Rosina is actually my middle name. And I decided to brand myself Rosina Sharon for one reason. And I think that has been part of me trying to identify myself. Because for a very, very long time, I felt lost. Because I felt like I did not belong anywhere, really. And that would be majorly because of how I was raised up, I could say. Because it was a very confusing environment, to be honest. My other name is Odongo, which is my dad's name. Unfortunately, he passed away 2 years ago. But that is the dad that raised me. Biologically, I'm from somewhere else. But then, what has shaped my identity as a person, I feel like even my resilience as is has always been because I felt like I did not belong and I had to work very hard. And for the majority part of my life, I lived life trying to please, whether it is my parents, my environment, my friends. Because growing up, for me to even fit in the environment, because being raised up in an environment where you're not necessarily there as biological, you get, and you grow up in that, and then it is a constant reminder of nyumba, you know, you just have to, you work extra hard, you have to have very, very good grades, like at least so you can feel like you're being loved, because it was a very chaotic environment, to be honest. I do know my mother loved me. My dad too, I suppose. He tried his best. But then it was a very chaotic environment to an extent where you just don't feel like you belong. And then growing up, because now my mom got a transfer, she's a teacher, to Turkana, to Kalokol. And that is now where I grew up. And being there, how I am physically, and everybody could just tell I'm not from Turkana. Like, it was so obvious. Everybody would be like, umetoka wapi wewe? you're sure you're from this place? And then you grow up, because now you identify as Turkana because this is where you grew up. It's almost like you're born and raised there, right? And you're trying to fit into the environment. And I would get, I don't know why, but for some reason I would get bullied a lot as a child going to school. Majority of it being because I looked different. I looked like I didn't belong. And then they had this song. I wish the Turkana people could translate it for you, because translating it here, I don't think could be. They used to say, Sharon Nakatuman. I don't know if any Turkana. Sharon Nakatu. And then they would follow. It's like a bunch of kids following you to school. Because I was bigger. And then I was very different. Right? So it's like you get bullied because of your body, and then so for the majority of my life, I genuinely did not feel like I belonged. I genuinely did not feel like I was loved, rather, in the environment. So even now, this is when I'm coming to an understanding of it. Being very hyper independent was because of me feeling like I don't belong, or rather I'm not loved enough, or rather I'm not worthy of love for the majority part of my life. So I had to push from a very young age, and I was a very bright student from a very young age. So, because that is, even my mother used to tell me that the only inheritance you're going to get from here is your education. So make use of it. It was very my environment was very conflicting, and in the sense that today it could be loving, and then the next day very chaotic. So I grew up very confused. Sometimes you feel like you're very, very loved, and then other times, unfortunately, I am the last born of the family. Yeah, so I am the one who got to experience almost everything that happened in detail. There was domestic violence growing up, and sometimes, today you've left the house. It's a very peaceful home. Everybody is smiling. You've gone to church. And then you come back home. My dad, unfortunately, had the tendency of throwing my mom out a lot while I was a child. And I don't think my mom even knows I still remember this, but children never forget. Yeah? So you would come back from church, and everything has been thrown out, including seats. Your mom has been thrown out of the house. You don't even know where she's at. And there's a one time I remember, because that really hurt me. I think out of all the instances of being thrown out, that one instance, it really hurt me. Because I came back, and my dad had chased my mom out, and she had taken my sister. So there was no one else. It was just me, very confused. I get into the home. Things are all over. My dad is rumbling, angry, and he's just spitting a lot of things in anger, and you're just there confused, and your mom is not around. And because at the time we did not have cell phones. That time in Turkana, no electricity, no nothing. You go ask the neighbor, have you seen my mom? No. Nobody knows where your mom is. And she's left with your sister. And you're left here with a very angry dad. Very angry. Saying a lot of things. And unfortunately, I don't know if it is, sometimes parents, kama wazazi tunakosea watoto sana. Because the things we say, they hold so much weight to a child's ears, especially. Because he was just there, and then he was saying how much like, sisi lea mtoto mwenye si wangu, and you're the mtoto mwenye si wangu, you get. And and then it's a lot of insults, like a lot of things that a child should not necessarily be privy to. And I was just there listening, and you left, and you don't know where your mom is. You don't know where to go. You have no idea. So I had to just sit there and take it all in, because I don't have anywhere else to go. Rusha, my mother comes and the whole chair, tupoko. And I'm just there, and that day we went out. Eventually he calmed down, and we went out to look for my mom. We looked, usiku. Where? And because it had happened previously, yeah. And I think it contributed a lot to me feeling unworthy. Because why would you take my sister and leave me in an environment you know very, very well is very toxic? This man is angry, and you know how he gets when he gets angry. Why would you just leave me there and take my sister and leave me? And I'm the one to just... And then you'd come back like, no apology, no nothing. Like, you just back to it's like business. And then all of a sudden, you guys are lovey-dovey again. And then the next day, you know, very conflicting. Like, today, we don't know. Sometimes, because again, I am the last born. I'm in the house a lot. You would hear your mom crying, and she's crying alone. And I don't think she even knew I could hear her cry. She would cry a lot. And you're just there. You don't know what to do at that point, to be honest, when you see your mom is sad. And you know exactly why she's sad. Yeah? And then your dad, the one who's raising you, sometimes he never raised his hands on me, yeah? But then it's the emotional damage. It is the emotional damage. Because today, you're the favorite child. Tomorrow, mtoto si wangu. You know, siwezi lipia fees mtoto si wangu. Because when I was going to high school, those words. Well, imagine you packing up and your mom is not able to pay for your school fees at the time. You're packing your things you're supposed to leave for school. Wamekosana again, which was almost like a norm at this point. Now, kikosana is just, it's a lot. So it makes you feel like if I was not here, maybe they would be happy. You know, it would be a happier environment if I was not part of this chaos. I felt like a burden in the household. That is why majority of my life I felt like I don't belong. I just felt like a burden majority of the time. It did raise a lot of questions in my mind, asking where I come from, and me wanting to know my identity. Yeah, but then I never questioned it. I was so scared of my mom. I don't think you know how old school parents are. They don't provide an environment where it's open for you to have such conversations. So you ask, but you keep it to yourself, right? Because unaweza chapa kofi moja ukienda kuuliza hiyo question wewe. So you're scared. You're very scared to ask. But yeah, I did ask myself a lot where I come from. Like, so how if it would have been different if I supposedly like being with my biological dad, if maybe the situation could have been different. I did ask, but fortunately for me, yeah, I think I was in class 7 when my mom, by herself, just sat us down and told us, you're not from this family. Yeah, and then she told me about my dad briefly. They were not in contact. But apparently, because I don't know. To be honest, if you ask me about my biological, I have no idea. But then she told me, like, I look like my biological dad a lot. We do look alike. And apparently he was an engineer. And then they met in Turkana. And then my dad disappeared. That is all I know. She told me his name, but then I remember his name is Francis. That is a name I would never forget. But that is all I know about my dad, unfortunately. That is all I know. And then, because now I couldn't question my mom on why did he just abandon, I could not. She told me all this and I was just quiet. I was like, oh, at least it answers one question. The one who raised me had 4 wives. And it is crazy because every time he got married, the wives left the kids in the home. So by the time my mom joined, there was already 6 kids, and she came with me and my sister. Yeah, and unfortunately, even my sister has a different dad. So yeah, in total though we were 8 as kids, but all of us just different moms. So it was you can imagine how chaotic the environment was. But fortunately for the other kids, yeah, my dad would. I think he took them in as just his own kids. Us, it was a bit different. I genuinely feel like my mother was very unhappy in the relationship, but because of, the financial restraints. And she wanted her kids to be okay, her children to be okay. And she wanted her children to be provided for, go to school. Because my mom is a teacher, yes, and she values education so much. She does value education. And she wanted us to get the best education we could possibly get. And she knew for a fact she could not provide that alone. And in the environment, because my dad was a bit well off, she knew for as long as we stay there, if there is education, we would get education. As much as it was, I think, for her, she just wanted better for us in terms of finances, at least, for us to go to school. And she knew this is the best way she could provide that, however toxic the relationship might have been. Yeah. I feel like for them, even when she was, we could tell when, sometimes my mom lived a very unhappy life, unfortunately. We could tell sometimes she's unhappy, because I could tell she's unhappy. And she's sad, and she's going through all these things. And she was trying her best to give us the best she could. Yeah, even despite the struggles, hata akifanyiwa nini atusiwe. Because even her, to be honest, I witnessed my mom. They used to tear my mom down, man. Not the other kids, not the family as a whole. I used to have somebody who would just pee in a mkebe and come and kumwagia mamangu, akimwambia atoke kwa boma ya babake. Like, she went through a lot, to be honest. If any, she was trying her best. I understand why she was not emotionally available. I do understand why, because she had to endure a lot. She had to endure a whole lot. And she was just trying her best for her kids. I don't necessarily blame my mom for things that had happened then. I just wish she was aware of how it affected us. Because their unhappiness unfortunately reflected onto us. It did more damage than it did good, unfortunately. For their minds, they were trying to protect us and provide. But eventually, even after all that trying to provide, bado mtu atakuja sema huyu mtoto wangu silipi school fees, and then there's nothing you can do. You're trying there to beg him or whatever to at least provide. I had to go on scholarship in high school. What good did that bring, aside from me just feeling like you guys don't love me, right? And then I went to high school and I had to beg the school. Oh my God, I had to lie. I came with a fabricated, that thing of scholarship. Nilienda shule nilidanganya venye kwetu ni maskini. Niliwaambia mimi ni maskini hohehahe na nauzanga fish. I'm a fishmonger. I remember that letter, the way I wrote it. I wrote it with so much anger. Because what do you mean? You sent me to school to go, me myself. I have to provide for myself because you guys are very unhappy within yourself. Now it's reflecting back on me. I went to school, right? And my mom was just there because before I left, she was pleading with me like, okay, just go and try get a sponsorship. And I could tell. She was sad when she was saying that because she knew the impact. But why don't you just leave? Hata heri tukue kwa nyumba ketu kadogo, but there is love in that house. So I went to school and I had to draft a letter and say venye sisi ni maskini sijui nini. But mtu akikuja, if anybody who knew where I come from and knew my dad, angeona hiyo letter angecheka vibaya sana. Niliandika venye mimi ni maskini. I refused to go home. I said I'm not going home for holidays because I genuinely did not want to go back to that environment. I hated home the moment I left home. It reminded me of everything bad, everything toxic, all the words they told me in detail. Venye mara umefukuzwa wesiwa huko matusi every day, mara umwagiwe sijui, like very disgusting things. Why is somebody peeing in a cup and kuja kukumwagia jamani, hata kama ndio madharau? Alafu as a mother, because the kids are watching when this is happening, unafukuzwa na mkojo jamani, na unakaa tu, you take it and you allow for it to happen. And I resented my mom at some point because why are you allowing that to happen? I'd rather we go, it's okay, hata kama tutalala kwa mkeka, wacha tulale kwa mkeka. But hii madharau yote mbona tunavumilia? Mimi si wa huku basi baya, sawa? Mimi si wa huku. Do we have to force ourselves into places that we genuinely they don't want us? Watoto wanaumia in the name of for the sake of my kids, you know, let me stay for the kids. Watoto wanatoka huko na mental health issues in life. Genuinely speaking, yeah, I feel like kuna vitu I would have handled it better if I was in a better mental space, because I kept being triggered. And as an adult, yeah, you don't understand why you get this much triggered. Some very little things. Me, I told my mom from a very young age, I don't want to get married. I don't know. And she kept telling me, niko na mapepo, inafaa niende niombewe. But I told her, I know, because generally, from my point of view, the example of marriage you set for me, I do not want it. If that is what marriage is, acha ikae. And so me, my dating history has been crazy because generally, I have in my head, I've had a very bad example of, like, anytime I think of relationships, I just think torture. I think it's just like, eventually you're just going to emotionally drain me and just, take away everything that is me. There's a point in time, not so long ago, I had to seek therapy. And then that is one thing my therapist told me about. And she said, yeah, for you, love feels like chaos. So anytime it is peaceful, you walk out. Because the one thing you're anticipating is chaos. If there is no chaos, you create the chaos. You become the chaos. Even if the person is, it's not like I've met amazing partners. But, because subconsciously, I'm waiting for the chaos to arrive. What is not happening? And then you bring and you don't know you're bringing the chaos, unfortunately. But you're the one who is bringing the chaos in. And you don't know until they walk out and you were left there wondering, what did I do wrong? What happened? Unatafuta makosa. Because unajuanga watu wako flawed. And this is how they are. People are just very selfish. With their very selfish interests. And no one can love me to that extent. I couldn't imagine, like, what do you mean you can actually get loved like that? Love in itself, yeah, to be honest, I've never really understood what love is. I've never really understood it, to be honest. Sometimes I feel like, yes, maybe this is love, but then I look for reasons and I'm like, nah. Any small flaw in a person and I'm like, mm-mm. And then sometimes somebody can love me and I'm like, no, ain't no way you love me this much. There has to be an ulterior motive somewhere. There's something you're plotting. Ain't no way this is true. I self-sabotage when it comes to love, not love, just love in a lot of many things. That is why I feel like my life, yeah. Some people may say I'm such a go-getter and I'm normally just doing something new. It's not, generally speaking, it could be that, but then there's another aspect to it where whenever it gets stable, I get stuck. It is too stable now. I have to constantly look for something. When it is too stable, there's something missing. So I just keep looking, and I keep going. And majority of the time, I end up just crashing out. Because I'm constantly just, it's like I'm chasing adrenaline all the time. Sometimes, yes, my career is very stable. I should actually continue with this path because this path is very safe, but when there is safety and stability, I sense it as danger. I'm anticipating. No, why is it so stable? Kuna kitu inakuja. My high school life I felt like I was running away. I took it as an advantage to run away from home, from everything. My first 2 years in high school were very chaotic. Seeing as I'm used to being like the top student when I was in primary, and then you go to this high, it's a whole new environment. And unfortunately, Turkana and Loreto Limuru, the school I was from, tukunakaa chini. You understand? Tunakaa chini, kunakuwa na hii simiti. Hapo ndo mnaandikia, hiyo ndo mmezoea. And high school, let me tell you, I have a very funny story. You know, I had to pretend mimi ni bubu in high school. Because umetoka Turkana, I did not even know how to speak English, like articulate myself. Writing, yes. But because hatujazoea huko tunaongea Turkana ama Kiswahili ni moja moja, you know? And then you go to a national high school and everybody is speaking in such fluent English and eloquence. And I felt so lost. Oh my God. I went there. The first 1 year nilikuwa bubu. Ooh-wee. Can you imagine me, the way I'm talking right now? It's very hard to believe. Nilikuwa kabubu. Nilikuwa nimenyamaza because I have a very heavy Turkana. I had a very... Nilikuwa nikanyamaza bana. Wait. English inaingia huku inatoka hii side ingine ukiwasikiza. Alafu they ask you a question, you're there like... And then you're trying to formulate. And just some... Because now you're very timid because you're not very confident in yourself. So you're scared to articulate something because it might come out vibaya and then uanze kuchekelewa. So unajifanya wewe nikapole. In the way I have a very big personality, I had to pretend mimi nikapole and very shy. They knew me as a very shy. The first year, wacha ifika form 2. First year nikaka shy mahali nimekaa. And I performed really badly, by the way, because of the change. And I felt like I even in high school, I felt very unworthy of being there because everybody was an excellent student because, you know, everybody there is just getting A's like it's nobody's business. And I'm used to being the only one. Sasa nakaa hapo bwana kidogo unakuwa sijui namba ngapi. What is not happening? And you feel so lost. And everybody's just, you know, when they talk about, alafu mimi mwenyewe, the first time I actually watched TV was in high school. Sababu sa Turkana suko, hakuna stima, hakuna anything. Mtu ametoka holiday wanakuja high school. Iwa umetoka huko kwenu. Watu wanaanza kuongea about the telenovelas they were watching. Oh my God, did you see? And then the way they speak. And I used to admire it a lot. Yeah, the way they speak. Because, hey, did you see? And they're very eloquent and I am just admiring them. I'm like, you know? And you're just there, very timid. Yeah, I was among the top students in Turkana. That is why I got to national school, the little national school. I performed. Lama unajua Turkana kuperform, unajua wenye tulikuwa nao primary sijui ni mimi peke yangu ndio graduate hata si. Watu wameolewa bwana huko sijui. By the time unamaza class 8 peke yake. Your other mwenye alikuwa your desk mate akona watoto wawili unashangaa Allah, what is not happening? Alafu unajua to be honest Turkana, because especially Kalokol, not Turkana as a whole, there are some places in Turkana. If you find a student performing well, it's a miracle. It's like against all odds. Everything that you don't even have a chance in life if you're growing up there. No books, no water, no water. You have to go. Unajua how many kilometers kwenda kutafuta maji? Alafu lazima mchimbe, kuchimba chini, mnachimba. The water is salty. No wonder majority of the Turkanas, you know, they have this yellowish teeth. Sababu the water is salty. Alafu by the time mtoke hapo na majerican 20 liter mnasukuma hivi. Na hamna hata viatu, tuko meparara. Hakuna viatu, mmechapa. Alafu unajua jua Turkana si kawaida jua. Oh my God, it is a lot. Muna crack hivi huko chini, but mnasukuma maji. That is, imagine, alafu you're competing against somebody mwenye anamka chini asubuhi anakunywa sausage na chai na nini na anaenda shule na anarudi. It is not easy. It is not easy. Sometimes, genuinely, I feel like surviving in Turkana should be one of my achievements. It's an achievement by itself. It's from family to school to just feeling different, and then now you go to high school, and now you're different. For real. like you're there. Because the way you have your accent, you stand out just because of your accent alone. right? And then the way you speak now, the Kiswahili words, the way you say the Swahili words, and then English is even worse. And that is, I made it my mission to be very eloquent. Oh my God, I made it a mission. I said, there is no way. No way. I am going to read as many books. And I used to write a lot in high school. Ooh, books. I had novels of me writing. And I won so many competitions of writing. I made it my mission just to be eloquent and to be very, as when it comes to language, English, and I would stand in front of everybody and present because I really wanted, growing up, the one career I really wanted to, do was journalism. And I saw myself as a TV presenter from a very young age. So I took that opportunity in high school and I said, I'm going to take advantage of this. And I will read and I will write. And I will go into drama club, I don't know what club, journalism, or paka football. Every opportunity, because in primary, remember, we did not have that many opportunities. Now you're given, it's like, a kid in a candy store. Oh my God. Now all of a sudden there is drama, there is football, there is dancing, I did all of them. Paka nikasahau kusoma. Because as a child who grew up in such chaotic environment, I had a very wild imagination. So the things I used to write, and you can imagine my imagination, because I would paint pictures of because that is all I could do, imagine. Because you really want to, feel the love. So the only way I could do that is through my writing. And I would imagine perfect families, not even relate. My imagination. No wonder my books used to. No wonder I used to win competitions because my imagination was wild. And that is all I could imagine. And I would write. Niliandika vitabu. Kuna siku nikaenda nyumbani kama nimebeba vitabu zangu zenye nimeandika high school. Nikasahau niko na mama mwalimu. She went and read the books I had written. Nilichapwa. Imagination yangu. Nilichapwa. Because I don't know, traditional parents, old school parents, I don't know what it is about. Because I would write, not science fiction, anything fiction, I would write it. Even relationships, because I'm going to do in detail, because it's my imagination. In scenarios, I would write, because kuna time I wrote about I was just imagining evil and good, yeah. But the way I painted the evil, it was so evil. My mom read that book. Alichoma, nikaombewa, nikasema mtoto, wait. But it was just me, and I wish she could just encourage. I would be now a bestseller somewhere. After high school, to my whole experience in high school, I felt like I created a whole new family in high school. That was eventually very, very welcoming family, by the way, including the nuns, because it was a Catholic school. I had a very good relationship with the nuns, with the sisters. And then, because they knew where I was coming from, rather. And sometimes I would come home, come to school, or rather I don't have shopping in school. There's a lot happening. And they would bring me shopping. And I felt, in high school, genuinely speaking, I felt very loved by at least the fraternity as a whole. It brought that I do have, I can actually be loved, And I felt like I was someone, and I had very big visions for myself in the future. That is when I started seeing life like something worth living, and something worth pursuing, and a career I wanted to pursue as well. Because even in high school, with everything, my talents, I knew I wanted to be a journalist, and I knew I wanted to write, and I wanted to present, and I had, worked on my eloquence and everything else. So I felt very ready to, go into the world. After high school, I did not go home to Turkana. I went to go and live with my auntie. Again, personal choice. I went there, and then I had applied to a couple. You know how when you're almost done with high school, you apply to universities and stuff. So I had applied for journalism, and then I applied for law, and then I applied for something to do with agriculture. I don't know why, but I did something. So I was just relaxing. And then, unfortunately, my aunt had to send me back to Turkana. watu wameanza kuitafuta mashule, mimi sijaitwa. Nashangaa, what is not happening, right? Because I'm back in Turkana, my mom is looking at me sideways, like, you know, it was stressful. It was a very stressful time. And then the first letter that came here, agriculture. And then like 3 days before people actually were in campus, that is when my letter for law ilifika. Nimeitwa kufanya law. I was hoping for journalism, oh my God. But then my mom kijiji mzima ilisikia siku. Yo, mtoto wangu anaenda kuwa lawyer. Hey, you know, they were very happy. Parents were very, very happy. Me, I was there, I'm like, but they were very happy. And I said, okay, please, you know, and then I told, at the time, my dad was there. Told my dad, I want to do journalism. Akaniambia ni hobby. Kama hobby. That is not a career. You should do as a hobby. How are you being called to do law? That should be how. I swear, you know how like traditional parents walikuwa wanaona it's either you're an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, or a teacher, bus. Nothing else. But you're going to do this law. Then I'm sat there, I'm looking at my mom because it's like 3 days before. So I'm looking at her and I ask her like, how nitaingiaje shule? Kaniambia usijali. I don't know what she did, but then my dad came through. In my campus years, my dad did come through. I don't know what changed, but I don't know if it is me being out of home for a very long time. I don't know what happened. There was a shift somewhere. There was a shift. Because then he became very present, I would say. In my campus years, he was actually very, very present, which was, you know, because again, you're used to the chaos. Nilikuwa namwangalianga sideways sana. Anything could happen anytime, but he was very present in my campus life. But then I went to campus. And then again, msichana aki. Me with this thing of stability, I went to campus first year. Msichana ametulia. Second year. Hey! Kiguna njia. Unajua kiguna njia ni nini? I'm everywhere but school. I am now all of a sudden there's so many opportunities. And who is Rosina? Somebody who goes for everything and anything. Bora tu kuna kitu. Nimeenda. Mara sijui na model wapi, mara sijui nini, mara I'm out of the country. Hata walijui nilifika aje huko. Hawajui hata risks in camp. I don't know why. I feel like, I don't know if it is my childhood or what. I take a lot of risks, unnecessary risks. And very, because there is nothing that would warrant you taking a risk at that time. But I was, again, chasing adrenaline. I chased adrenaline a lot. In the second year, yeah, and I was, I've always been a very beautiful girl, yeah. And that is when I was discovering my beauty. Second year. That is, all of a sudden, my fashion sense is different. I used to wear 6-inch heels. Na niko law school. Mimi ni nani? Kwanza I make sure naingia class 10 minutes late. How will you know I've arrived if I don't show up 10 minutes? Lazima, attention, mimi na attention tuko na hivi. Naingia. Na niliku, I don't know, like there's this rebellious thing that just came over me in second year. I was rebelling everything, let me tell you. And then all of a sudden, I entered into politics. Now I'm vying for, at the time I was vying for Secretary General for Kenya Law Student Society, right? I'm vying for this. And that is when all of a sudden I'm meeting. I don't know why. It's, for me, connecting with people is very easy. From all walks of lives. Ndio napatana politicians ka wote, CMP, sijui nini. And then they see a beautiful girl. Oh my God. Oi. Hiyo ndio sasa nikaribika. Oh my God. Yo, mimi nakuharibika second year nimeharibika. Sasa mimi, and then you know, alafu unajua you're looking for, okay, acha nikwambie. That is why I think I've spoken about this on my YouTube, and I tell parents, yeah, Usifikirie mtoto ameingia campus ukafikiria sasa umemwacha. Hapo ndio nafaa umshikilie umlete karibu. Na usimwachilie tena. You don't send her or money for even food. You just leave them. They will look for means. And I swear to you, the means they are going to look for, they're not going to be very pleasing means. They'll surprise you. It's not going to be, Cater for the kids even when they're in campus, they're still kids. Don't let them just, they're in campus now, umewachilia. Si nilitafuta pesa. We. Sasa mimi, because now I have connections. And I know campus girls a lot. Mimi ni nani? Sasa mimi ndio nimekuwa pimp. Oh my God. I was pimping, not classmates, at a different campuses. I did not care. I was bad. When I tell you, second year was the prime of me being just bad. Something, because I was looking for, I was chasing the fast life. To be a pimp here, it does not like just manifest all of a sudden. It starts kidogo. With one person comes and says, hey, because I knew a lot of politicians here. They would say, hey, we're going to Kisumu for, can you hook me up with one girl like this? Imeanza na msichana mo? Tawiba na utaniongezea yangu ya juu. Okay, how much are you willing to give her? Don't worry about it. Maybe 30,000, 10,000, whichever one. Like, okay. Nena nitafuta na convince msichana. Naambia hapa, unapata 20, 30, whatever. Unajua sasa hiyo pesa ni mingi. Hey, you're in campus. Unaona hiyo do wewe. Wasichana hivyo. Alafu atenda ambia mwenzake, hey, Rosina ni connect na nini mwingine hapa hivi mbabas. Akona do. Hata kuja kwangu. So ni connect pia mimi. Nena nauliza. When next are you guys? We're going to Mombasa, we're having nini. It's a bunch of MPs. I'm like, okay, cool. How many do you want? Pia mimi napata kati yangu. Tuma wasichana, naambia wasichana, be careful. Mimi msikuja mniambie, you're doing this because you want to do this. Abi? Okay. And I used to hang out with people, oh my God. And they would trust me because I don't sell them out. They used to trust me a lot. So whenever they want anything, they would just, hey, Rosina. Genuinely speaking, I don't know what the correlation is. I feel like when you start getting money that is, it's like literally handed to you. Yeah. And then unfortunately, many campus, especially girls, want money. And there is a lot of pressure because that is when the classism inaanzanga ku manifest in campus. That is when, this one is rich, this one is, huyu amevaa hii, huyu ako na iPhone, huyu hana. That is where the classism inaanza ku manifest. In high school, tunanga haja sana, but when you get to campus, that is when all of a sudden you see how your peer is doing better than you. And then now it is very, very rampant everywhere. It's like a competition of some sorts. And there is a lot of peer pressure, and you want to fit in. Sometimes it could be even somebody from a very poor background as well. Yeah. And you feel like you're being left out. Mtu anakuja kuconvince bana, wewe na hiyo rembo yote mbona now you can get kathati hapa. Tafuta mbabas kwani shida iko. Morals zata kupeleka mahali. That is what they say. That is what they say. Unfortunately, that is the language they use in campus. Like morals zata kupeleka mahali. Mwenzako hapa we are drive huko hapa hivi na morals zako. And unfortunately, campus is always about fast life, majority of the time. People are very impatient. As human, especially if all you have known is struggle your whole life, right? The moment you taste easy money, the moment you taste it like this, you start chasing the fast life. Like, you cannot imagine yourself going back to the struggle life at all. You just keep chasing it, whichever way, And it's a lot of pressure, and almost majority of your peers are doing it, so you don't feel like it's such a bad thing. There's one guy, I've never forgotten. It was some MP, yeah? And then he was going to Kisumu, right? And then he said, connect me. I said, okay, cool. Nikaleta msichana wa wenyewe. Yeah. The MP called me, akaniambia I organize a 5-star place, like a hotel. Book for 10 days. Then he sent the money, I booked. Nikamwambia msichana ni hapa tutakuwa mnapatana. Okay, cool. She went to hey, maskini MP amekuja. And he's not alone. Kumbe apparently they do these group things. Msichana amefikiria anapatana na mtu mmoja. It's a number of them. And now and it's a bunch of men, grown men, forcing you to do things with them. Not one, not two. It was 3 of them. And the girl called me crying. I had to leave Nairobi to Kisumu. Took her to the hospital. And from that, I knew I had to stop it immediately. Because you cannot imagine the pain, the trauma the girl was going through. Nothing is worth that much trauma. Not even the money they were. Because it does something. It changes your life, literally. And that thing, hey, it took me a while. And I kept apologizing over and over and over, and I would cry with her. I would, since that day niliosha mkono. I deleted nilienda kwa simu yangu namba zote. Block, delete, groups zote. Nikatoa. And I had to change my number out. Because I said, hey, no way. I am damaging people out here. And I don't think I was brought into this life to damage. My purpose is not to damage. And I was doing a lot of damage to young girls. Because this is no way this is me. Nilijita mkutano. Oof. And I said, how did I get here? You know, that is when you start asking yourself questions. How did it even get here to this point? How did I get myself into? And I'm still in campus. Like, I'm still a young girl myself. Like, and then I would imagine, like, you know, not all money is good money. There is money that will damage you forever. And I said, apana, it's too much. It is too much. Even for me, it is too much. Hata papa mimi nimeenda sana. Hapa nikakumbuka nyumbani venye kuko, nikasema, hey, To be honest, all the money I made, I don't know where they were. That money came and disappeared immediately, with immediate effect. Because generally speaking, a politician would come and give me 200,000. I mean, Niko campus. Yeah. They give me 200,000, just like that. Shika. Nimenunua manguo. Nakupeleka wasichana club. Like, I would take people out to drink. I don't even drink myself. So they're drinking, I'm not drinking. Mimi tu ndio wananipatia bill. Mara sijui nimeenda out. I used to travel out of the country a lot, let me tell you. Kwa Rwanda, nimejipata Rwanda, hata sijui nilifika. Na sijui hatu, nimejipata tu. Mara sijui niko wapi. Hey. Sometimes I'm in Eldoret, hata sijui venye nilifika. It had gotten to a point in life, where I said I must experience new, rangi mpya lazima. I must experience these things. Yeah? And it was funny because I did not even meet this guy on a dating app at all. It was not on a dating app. It was on Facebook. It was funny because he was going to Turkana. He's an engineer. A very big one, by the way. He's based in Israel now, I believe. And I don't know how he bumped into my post, because that time I was talking about Kalokol, which is not far from Lodwa, because he was going to Lodwa. And then he texted me, he's like, hey, I'm going to Kalokol. I mean, I do this and this. I said, oh, yeah, I'll connect you to a couple of, because I know a lot of people in Lodwa. I'll connect you to a lot of people. Okay, cool. That was the first time he was in Kenya that time. But then he went back, and we kept in touch. And we kept talking. All of a sudden now there's this All of a sudden now it's flirting, and yeah, he was very good at flirting, my lord. And he was such a gentleman. Very, very good. We are here talking, and then he says he's coming back to Kenya because he needed to finish the project he was doing in Lodwar. I said, okay, cool, I'm coming. Then he's like, you're picking me up from the airport. Yeah, I said, yeah, why not? And let me tell you, that day, I had to go to town and get an outfit. Proper. Mutajuaje. Your time, to be honest, I don't think I was there. Sikuwa nimeingia airport. It was my first time, I think. Yeah. I went all out because I was wearing red. Wewe. Hey, koma. Tengeneza makucha nini. Yeah. And I was like, asking my friend, what do white guys like? And then they was just telling me things. I was like a bunch of nonsense. But then I went that time, very excited, to the airport to picked him up. Uber, yenye mimi siko nalipia, nienda nalipia. Hey, he was actually young. He was not old. He was a very young guy. He was looking good. Look, si kamzee, it's okay. Haya, tumekuja na Uber yetu. He had booked this hotel. It was not far from the airport though. It was a very beautiful one, by the way. I don't remember the name for it. The hotel. That is where we were going to stay. I said, okay, cool. Nikabeba kamangu kingine kadogo kakuchange. We went, we got there to the hotel. Everything was beautiful. He was treating me very nicely, by the way. Hata Afrika hawajuagi kitu. But he was there, opening doors and everything else, everything in between, And then we went to the hotel room. The first time we left everything there, we had to come back down because he needed to eat, and I wanted to eat as well. So we went down, we ate beautiful dinner. Oh, let me tell you, beautiful. It was just there. Hey, alikuwa na mdomo mistari. Yeah. And then we went up now to the room. Okay. Had to go freshen up. Nika freshen up kwanza tu kawaida, kitu za kawaida, Sasa, maybe because I already knew what was about to go down. And I was just relaxing. Before he goes into the washroom, he's like, hey, have you ever done role plays before? I said, no. I said, don't worry. It's not bad. Yeah. No, that time I was young, by the way. I was very young. I had not had my daughter yet. I was very young. Where? Very, very young. Then, naive even. And he's just telling me like, okay, so me, I will act like wanyama pori. Like a tiger. You're supposed to be, it's just a baby. Yeah, mi ndo nakulwa. Nikasema, okay. Me, I was thinking it's just, something simple things, not like, like it was going into depths of things. So me, I'm relaxing in bed because he's gone to the washroom. Kumbe ameenda kujipanga ban. Mimi, I am there, niko bed, I'm relaxing. Proper. No worry in Africa. Kidogo mtu anatoka kwa washroom, my God. All of a sudden he has a beard. Big ass beard. Hey! And he's coming. Unajua mimi niko kwa kitanda. I was not anticipating anything. Me, I thought maybe atakitoka, we will talk about it first before it happens. Kumbe ilikuwa ni action. Na mimi sikuwa najua. Mimi niko kwa kitanda, nimerelax. Naona mtu in all fours, I kid you not, alikuwa hivi. All fours. Miguu na mikono hivi chini hivi. Like, he was an animal. Kumbe this guy, he has a fetish in me, hata mi, wake wazungu. Where? All fours. And then he goes, then he was like, hey. And then he jumps on the bed on me. And I'm supposed to nini. And then me, I'm acting scared. I was scared. I was shaking. He's thinking, now I am acting my part. Kumbe I'm a very good actor. Kumbe niko scared ya ukweli. Mimi niko scared. My Lord, nafikiria hii ni nini nimejileta. Ako hapa. And he continues. And then he's touching. And you see how like you can have, I think he was mimicking clothes like this. Then he was doing like this on my body. I am crying. almost screaming because I didn't want to scream loud. So I'm screaming ile scream na adabu. Him is thinking now saniko. Now mean hey tuko. My Lord, I am genuinely niliomba Mungu wewe, nililia na machozi. Yeye anafikiria na mimi nikiendelea kulia na mtu anafikiria sasa Bwana yeye nilitoka na maalama. Cause you're going to see me today, You're going to find out who I am. I'm gonna tell you how they does this. Na mzungu mwenye akona nywele kwa nini? And then he goes again. Hey, we nililia. Stop. Him bado anafikiria stop nile like I love being chased now. I'm in that need of stop. Paka nikampush. That is when akaona niko serious. I pushed him. And then I said stop and I was crying leo kweli. And he got, acha nikwambia hajashtuka hivyo. He got very concerned. Oh my God, he got so concerned. I was crying. Nikavaa dera yangu. Nikavaa dera yangu. Nikamwambia, I don't want to see you again. I don't want to see this again in my life. Hii ni mashetani gani? Nikamwambia, you're so evil. He's thinking it's normal things. What do you mean I'm evil? Yeah. And then he tried to tell me to stop and not go, but nilikuwa nishaitisha vitu zangu nimeenda. He apologized after that. He apologized and apologized. Mimi nikasema I've seen enough. Yeah, I've seen enough. Hii maneno ya kujaribu vitu vya nje. Hata ni kwa home country cause me, what have I not seen? There is a time, oh my God, I remember. Campus life. There is a time a politician invited me. You know, okay, being a young girl is not easy. To his house in Eldoret. He was actually an upcoming politician. That is when he was campaigning. So I went. Mimi niko like, I made myself so comfortable. You would think it's my house. And I was with one of my friends. Yeah. But majority of the time, my friends watatoka nao, mimi niache kwa nyumba. Then one time, I tell you, chasing fast money is not really. One time, they come. It's a bunch of them. Na mimi ndio niko kwa nyumba peke yangu. It's a bunch of them. Then this guy comes and tells me, enda kwa bedroom, na usijaribu kutoka. But then when I saw, umeona watu watano wanaingia kwa nyumba. Umeenda kwa bedroom, umejifungia huko. Because you were given very specific instructions, usijaribu kutoka. Nimekaa huko. And because I'm from Turkana, I know how a gunshot sounds like. And I had a bunch of them. And I was in that bedroom. And I was scared. I was so scared. And then, nasikia ni kama wanatoka. Nasikia niliambia nitoka kwa bedroom baby. Niliambia nisitoke. So nasikia wanatoka. Alafu there is this room on the other far end. It was always closed, that room. Now that is where they had, I think it was a meeting or whatever I think it was a meeting. Naona wanatoka. And it is 4 of them ndo wametoka. Then they rush out, they go, disappear. This guy comes back. Jioni. Najua room imefungwa. Na mimi nimesikia vitu zangu. Na mbona it's only 4 of you ndo mmetoka na mlikuja mkiwa 5. I'm asking myself a lot of questions. This guy comes back. Akanambia, you need to leave. But the way I heard those things, I said, okay, cool. I will leave. Leaving now, I will leave immediately. Then he organized for me to get out. My friend was not around that time. But then, that thing has haunted me forever. Because I remember it like it happened yesterday. Because of the sound of it. And I don't want to make assumptions, but alafu, msichana umeweka kwa hiyo position. You're the same girl. Another time again, aki mimi, I did not learn. In campus, I was very rowdy. I went, again, politicians again. No, actually, this one's, they're businessmen, they're not even politicians. They're business people, and one of them is a politician. Who ndalinita. So mi nimeenda because I'm used to being around politicians at this point. Nimeenda. Watu wanapiga tu story kawaida. Najua mi nimeleta wasichana kama kawaida yangu. That is what I bring the girl. Nimekaa na wasichana. Tunapiga story because these are like literally campus mates or whatever. Tunapiga story. Watu wameanza kukasirikiana. This men. And then all of a sudden, all of them wametoa guns. They are pointing at each other. Have you ever been confused? Ujui nini utafanya? They're all just pointing like, boo, 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 boo. I have never experienced it. It was the first time. Nilikaa hapo. Wasichana wameingia chini ya nini? Meza. Mimi mwenyewe siwezi fit chini ya meza. Wewe! I'm like, sasa wakianza kushoot. Because mimi niko hapo. Na siwezi toka. Because unaanzaje? So wake up unaangalia na watu the guns zao. Wakianza kushoot, I don't know. I'm trying to calculate. Because even me moving fast, I would not move fast. So, like, I don't know. So I'm praying to God, please just, let them sort this out. Let them sort this thing out. But then eventually wakaelewana. Walielewana hivi. Nikaenda nikaambia mwenye aliniita, kuna kitu nafaa kufanya. Let me just go. Nikaambia wasichana, sometimes even you see danger and you look at the girls you brought, unaangalia kwa like, you don't want to get out. Like, why are you still here? Tunafaa tutoke. Pesa, tamaa ya pesa ni mbaya wewe. Wala wanapenda pesa huko nje because your time they were being given a lot of money. It was a lot of money. And I'm like, you guys are risking. Like, this is such a risk. Mimi nilitoka, nikasema anyway. Tangu hiyo siku niitwe na politicians mahali kwanza as a group niende nijikute. Wacha nikwambie hiyo time kwanza mimi ndio nilikuwa mamas. I'm in my early 20s. But mimi ndio sponsor. Unataka nini? Na mimi nikipenda kajinga, I give everything. What do you want? You want a trip away? What phone do you want? Who am I? Na mimi nikajinga kwanza nakumwambia nje nimepata ka 200k mahali. Oh God. Imeenda hivyo. The moment imetoka kwa mdomo imeenda. Mimi sasa hiyo mpaka kuna watu nimejengea huko nje na mimi mwenyewe sina. Ujinga. Kuna mtu mpaka ananilia gari na sina. Nilimpatia pesa. Sasa niende nikanunua gari yenyewe but I gave money. Nikikumbuka this human being was even older than me. My Lord. Let me tell you, people can take advantage of somebody who is vulnerable. Especially somebody who is naive. When it comes to love, I feel like majority of the time I've been very naive when it comes to love. That acceptance thing, you're just chasing to be, and I used to chase people a lot. Because you really want to feel loved, yeah? Even from the wrong places, bro, you just want to feel it, So that time, and you're here because me, okay, that time I did not know how to keep secrets, especially from people like I would term I love. Na kuambia kila kitu. If I have a deal, I say, this senator amenipigia, he wants, I think I'll organize like 5 girls, and then I tell this human being, nitakuwa nimepata hii pesa. Kumbe mtu amepangia pesa yangu. Mimi mwenyewe hata sijaipata. Lakini ameshapangia. All of a sudden, the moment that money comes in like this, all of a sudden kuna mashida. My car, sijui nini, mara nyanya yangu, mara mama yangu. Mimi ni nani? Understanding girlfriend. I'm so sorry, my love. What do you need? Maybe give me like 200, 250, 300. I don't want to tell you something. Mimi ni nani? Kuna mwingine alikuwa anauza magari. Huyo kwanza next time sawa, ashindwe kabisa. Alikuwa anauza magari. And then there is this website, inaitwaje website? ya kuuza magari, lazima ulipie every month. Hana nyumba. I don't know what happened to nyumba yake. Nyumba alipoteza ama sijui hakuwa amelipa rent for a long time. I didn't know all of this. Lakini mtu anaingia into your head. Unamwambia vivi, oh, nimeorganize hii, I'll be getting this much money. Hey, kidogo all of a sudden ndio sasa mashida zinaanza. Sasa hiyo amengoja umempenda. Mashida anaanza. Ndio ile nyumba yangu walinifungia vitu yangu kwa hapo ndani, and alikuwa na mtoto ya daughter. Vitu zangu ziko hapo ndani nimefungiwa. It has been like 6 months. Nikitaka kuchukua vitu lazima nilipie. And I'll have to pay this. Because your time it was 330 something thousand. 300. Na venye the way this human being presented, ungemwona ungefikiria kuna pesa. Hanao. Alafu my daughter anaanza kwanza watu waniongeleshanga mama ya watoto wao vibaya. Waogope. Tusingi sijui my baby mama sijui my baby mama this, my baby mama that. Wanafiki ya man. And my baby mama, oh my daughter, I had already met the daughter and I love the daughter. Yay, mimi ninaye. I'm sorry, my love. You're going through all that and I'm here. I'm sorry. You said how much did you need? 330. Sikumbuki ilikuwa kama 336 ama 335 hapo. Nikampatia yote. Hivi yote 330. Mimi mwenyewe sina nyumba. I'm still in campus. Stepmother already. Sina nyumba. Mimi nika stepmother mtu mahali. Hata ningejijengea yake. 337, okay, clean, patia. Sijui kama ni uongo ama mimi sijui. Akapata a new house. Guess who furnished the house? Kiti. Ati hii ni nyumba yetu. Inasema hii ni nyumba yetu. Oh my God. This, I'm getting this house for us. In the name of love. This is how tuanzie. Okay. Mimi mjinga ni nani? Natafuta pesa, furniture, TV, cut. Nikajaza nyumba. Woi. The moment nimejaza nyumba ilikuwa inakaa vizuri. Because when it comes to deco, mimi nilikuwa naona basi. Hapa basi. This is my end goal, imeisha. Hapa ndio imeisha. Hakuna kutafuta tena. Nilikuwa narudi kufanya exams. Shule, nikamaliza exams, naenda kwa hii nyumba yetu. Nafika kwa nyumba yetu, katiba imechange. Kulikuwa na kudita kumbe. There is a new government na sikuwa najua. Naingia hivi, a new government amejiweka kwa kiti, vibasa. Mimi nimenunua. Amekaa kwanza, alikuwa amekaa na hana nguo, amejifunga tu kaleso kingine hapa kadogo kamekaa. Who are you? Who am I? Nikamuuliza, who are you though? Huyu mtu mwenye our house, the owner of our house kakuja akaniuliza, what are you doing here? What do you mean, what am I doing here? What are you doing here? Get out. I'm with my girlfriend. Okay. Na umefukuzwa kama mwenene paka. Ile umbwa koko. Nilifukuzwa. Kwanza nilisukumwa nje. Sikuamini. It took me how long for me to comprehend everything. It took me a while. I could not believe it. Not my ears, not my eyes, nothing. I could not believe. I got pregnant in my 4th year of campus of law school. Yeah. That is when I got pregnant. It was actually like And it was my pregnancy journey as well. It was a crazy journey. So I got pregnant at the time. To be honest, yeah, I think even my daughter's father would agree. We were not in a relationship. We were not in a, I don't know what that was. Yeah, it was a one-sided relationship. Mimi ndo nilikuwa kwa relationship peke yangu. You get? Like on his side I don't think alikuwa anaiona kama relationship. Mimi peke yangu. No? I was there solely. I was broke college student that time. I was very broke when I met him. Nilikuwa nimeachana na life sasa. Niko tu venye niko. You know. Then I got pregnant. I told him, do you know how I found out I was pregnant? I didn't even know I was pregnant. I was sick. Very sick. I started losing weight like it was nobody's business. I lost a lot of weight and I was coughing, blood coughing. I was so ill. I went to the school, because at first, when I started, it went on for like 2 weeks plus. And then I started just losing weight. And nobody was concerned. So I went to the school, like a dispensary for the school, and then I went there and I spoke to the doctor who was in there at the time, and I told him my symptoms, and he looked at me and he said, "Oh, kuna TB." You know, what do you mean niko na TB? Akaniambia na siwezi kupima, like you have to go to a public hospital, but you have to get tested for HIV. If you're going to get tested for TB, you have to get tested for HIV. I said, okay. Alianza na statement, alianza vibaya bana, nilishtuka. Akasema, you know, and then he was giving me a statistic of, I don't know, is it 90% of patients who with TB have HIV? And I was like, what exactly are you trying to tell me? And then he tests me for HIV because he couldn't test me for negative. Then he's like, okay, go to the public hospital. I went. My dad was still alive, but I called my dad. Mwenye ananipeleka hospitali ni baba yangu. Sijamwambia ni nini nimeambiwa. Nimwambia tunataka kwenda hospitali. He took me to the hospital. We went. Akaanza kuambiwa na nurses na madaktari tunapima TB, akashangaa sana. And we have to test for HIV as well. Kuna instant test ya HIV by the way. They say like the results. They tested both HIV negative. They had to do another test again for HIV. It was still negative. TB positive, very positive. Akuja kaniuliza, why do you have TB? Like, what has made your immune system so low? You get TB because your immune system is very weak. That is why it's mostly people with HIV who the immune system is very, what has made your immune system very weak for you to get TB? I'm like, I don't know. Nasi mwingine na kerere toka, when is the last time you had your period? Baba yangu wako hapo. Nikakumbuka by the way, I have irregular periods. Like, it's not like, it was 3 months, but I was like, but it happens. Sometimes I stayed 6 months, niko tu sawa. Baba yangu ananiangalia, mimi namwangalia, tunaangaliana. Let us test you for pregnancy. I said, okay. Tested positive. He was looking at me like, nilikupeleka shule uende upate mimba. Fine, na niko karibu exam za mwisho za second semester. Hiyo ya mwisho. Now I'm pregnant. I had to do a whole whatever, and I was 3 months pregnant that time. 3 months with TB. Ndio napata niko na TB. I was 3 months pregnant. And I had to go on medication for 6 months. So the whole entire pregnancy, nilikuwa on medication ya TB. 6 good months. Na nikaekwa in isolation. Watu wanafanya exam. Mimi ndio naekwa isolation. So I missed my exams that year. Because nilikuwa in isolation. Alafu nikaambia best friend yangu, msichana. Anyway, tulimsamehe ati. Nikaambia my best friend at the time, niko na msichana akaenda katangazia shule mzima niko na HIV. She went and I told everybody who could listen that, Sharon, mimi time I was so famous in school. And you know, I had to, because I requested to do my exams after I was done. Kuna hii exam inakujanga like, especially watu wanafanyanga ma receipt and stuff. Wanapata hizo. Mimi nikamwambia nifanye exam zangu, hiyo time watu wanafanya receipt zao. Narudi shule kufanya exam, nataka kukaa chini, kila mtu anatoroka. Do you know my assistant dean, her name is Elizabeth, came and told me, it's okay, you can take it. You will come next year to do the exams. Because I know you will fail. If you do these exams now, you will fail. And I know how traumatic this experience is. You will fail. Can I take it off? It's okay, you come back. At least you'll have had your baby, you will be okay. Don't worry, this is just a passing storm. And it was so bad. And I was losing, imagine I'm pregnant, I'm losing weight, proper. Hey, hata sijui mtoto alisurvive aje, guy. Because that time I was giving birth is when, that was the last day I was taking my meds. Everybody was worried. I don't know how that, mtoto wangu vile amesurvive, Mungu wangu, she's a fight. That one. And I went sasa time ya kujifungua, sasa na I'm broke. Unajua umekuwa broke, wewe, because kujifungua yangu na ipi iko na story. Time now I'm getting my labor. That time, labor pains zinaanza. Mimi sikuwa najua labor pains zinakaaje. Then I went and asked my sister, hey, labor pains zinakuanga aje by the way? Akaniambia ungekuwa in labor, haungekuwa unaniongelesha hivi. I said, hey, okay. And they kept coming. I said, let me take myself to the hospital. Sina hata shilingi hata ndururu. I had to walk. Unajua from Wendani to Githurai, kuna hospital ingine hapo Githurai. Very funny. But ilinisaidia sana that hospital. Kaona, hospital inakaa tu hivi hivi. Nikatembea all the way. Na niko 9 months pregnant. Na nilikuwa naishi mbali. I walked all the way to the hospital. Kumbe kutembea sana inafanya labor. Hey! Nikafika. I'm 6 centimeters dilated already. Wakasema, hey, unazaa leo. Then I called my sister. I'm like, unajua, nilikuwa in labor by the way, kweli. But come to the hospital because they said they cannot need me. Have to stay in the hospital. Sitangu amekuja, hata ya normal delivery hatuna. Sisi wote, very broke human beings. So we sat there, we asking ourselves, hey. Then I called my dad. He was still alive. No, I started calling my mom first. Mungu alikuwa amekataa kuniongelesha ever since alijua I'm pregnant. Calling my dad, that yeah, tuko hospitali hatuna. Mimi pia sina pesa. Alafu hii fracas yote sina pesa. Wacha nikwambie, I texted the guy. Hey, niko labor. Nikamwambia normal delivery ni this much. Hata nikwambia ujinga yenye nilifanya usiku. Ndio ujue mimi ni mjinga proper. I need the money, but kiburi. He sent 14,000. Abi, cool. Unfortunately, because we paid for deposit. You have to pay deposit first. Paid for the deposit, yeah. Then my water broke while I was in the hospital, and the water ilikuwa green. Green. Wakasema, mtoto wako ako in distress, fetal distress. They have to check. Checking, I had to go emergency C-section immediately because mtoto angeenda. They said, hii hawezi ngoja. We have to do an emergency C-section. Na hiyo ni pesa ingine. I'm telling this guy, napata text, stop disturbing me, I'm with my girlfriend. Hey. Nikamrudisha 7,000 yake. Ujinga. Msichana mwenye ana need pesa. Kiburi. Nikarudisha 7,000. Sitangu ananiuliza nini mbaya na wewe, nikamwambia sijui, but mtu hawezi niongelesha hivi. Na sasa mimi I can die, but kiburi. I called my dad again. My dad called my step brother. Mungu, I thank God for my step brother. Aliacha everything he was doing. He came with 20,000 and he did a deposit at 20,000. So I did the surgery. Mtoto wangu alikuwa healthy, thank God. Very, very healthy. And I was in the hospital because now after C-section you have to stay for at least 3 to 4 days in the hospital. I was in the hospital 4 days kesha. Day 5. Hakuna mtu. Brother yangu pia saa shiki simu. Your time. Watu hawana pesa. Everybody hana pesa. Day 5. Day 6. Unaona tu mama wanakuja wakijifungua kitoka. Wanajifungua wewe ndio umebaki hapo na mtoto wako. That thing, I was so sad. I used to cry every day in that hospital, every single day. Sina pesa ya kutoka hospitali. What do you mean? Mwingine anakuja amezaa ametoka. 1 week bado niko hapo ndani. 10 days bado niko hapo ndani. Alafu unajua ukiongezeka pesa pia zinaongezeka. I stayed in that hospital. I was crying every day. Every single day. By the time nitoke, I had questioned everything to do with life. Nilisema bana, basi Mungu atuchukue si wote wawili tu. Nimechoka. Nimechoka. I don't want anymore. Eventually, my brother again came through. Akamalizia, I went back home. And 1 week later, hii kidonda C-section imepasuka. Oh my God. I had to go back, kana kushonwa. And yeah, started life. That time I was living at my sister's house. And alinisaidia. And I had to start working immediately after, like 3 months later. I could not even stay for a long time because bills. And my sister's very impatient. Very, very, you seem to, very impatient. Alikuwa ameshachoka. So I had to start working. 3 months. Tonga kwa 3 months nikaanza kwenda kazi. Thankfully, when I was looking for work, nikapata job na Pampers ya kusimama kwa supermarket ya Pampers. Nilikuwa naiba Pampers. Sina pesa na sina Pampers na niko kwa kampani ya wewe. Every day unajua wanakupatia hii ya kusimama nayo. Every day nilikuwa nimejaza Pampers kwa ya mwaka mzima. Juu sina dozi za wapi ndo ya Pampers kila siku. Na sina naiba. Waligundua wakanifuta, but at least it was so true. Nimeenda kazi. Hata sijasimama 2 hours kwa supermarket, sister yangu toka analia sana kuja mchukua mtoto wako. Very impatient. Nilikuwa na stress. Cause kidogo mtoto wako analia. Nilikuwa nimechukia maisha, hata karibu nichukia mtoto mwenyewe, jamani maskini. Motherhood changed me, man. Motherhood changed me. And it changed me a lot. Do you know, when my mother heard I was pregnant, the first thing she told me is like she's very concerned for that child. Because that is something I had, if there is one thing I did not want to become, is a mother and a wife. Especially a mother. And then now you're pregnant. And my sister, she's going to watch that. My sister tried to convince me to get rid of that pregnancy. I refused. I did not know why I refused, to be honest. Because I did not want to be a mother. But since I got pregnant, the moment I knew I was pregnant, I refused. No, I don't want to get rid of the child. I want to stay. And from the pregnancy, the changes started happening in the pregnancy itself. Because I was prepping myself mentally. And the way I would talk to my child while she was still in my belly, it was so different. Like there is this, I think, the lack of love, rather me feeling like I lack love for a very long time. All of it changed when I got pregnant. Because now, there is this type of love I had that was very different. That was very, very different. And I used to look at my belly and talk, and then I would just sit down and imagine taking my child to school, and not in a negative way, in a very positive, like I would actually look forward to it. I was looking forward to it, to taking my child to school, getting her ready, buying things. And I was looking, it was so strange to me at the beginning, because I was really looking forward to it. I was like, I cannot wait. Sometimes I would walk with my pregnancy and I see other kids with their parents, and I just admire them. I'm like, I cannot wait for my child to be that age. I don't know how long it's going to take before they get to that age. And I would admire them. And then my child came. That time, because it was a C-section, yeah. Nilikuwa nimelala nikaamka. They told me it is a girl. Because at first, the ultrasound walikuwa wameniambia it's a boy. I had bought a lot of boy clothes, by the way. So many. The whole nini was boy outfits. But then it was a girl, and they kept saying it's a girl because mimi ndio umeamka. You're not understanding what do you mean it's a girl. You know? And I kept questioning them. Nilikuwa naongelesha hapo bana. But the moment they brought my daughter to me, and I would look at her, and then I would ask them, is she okay? I kept asking if she's okay. And that doctor said, I know you're going to be such an amazing mother. Like I could tell, we all could tell. Because they were all there. I kept, is she okay? And then I kept talking to her. Because Mr. Wanajota, I was talking to her. Because I kept talking to her and say, it's your mom and I cannot wait to raise you. You're going to have such a beautiful life. I kept saying that over and over and over again. And they would look. They would just be there admiring. Like, wow, I've never seen a mother who anticipated being a mother like you. And I was just like, really? Like, do you know how many positive things you've said to this girl ever since she arrived? Hey! No, you're going to be such an amazing... They kept saying that. So even when I was still in the hospital this whole time, everybody's coming out, they'll just come to me and be like, she's lucky to have you. And they kept saying it. She's lucky to have you. She's lucky to have you. And then after, when we went back home, my daughter, I think, introduced me to a different type of love. And all the love that I was feeling like I was lacking, I found it here in motherhood. And it just changed me. I became more calm, more settled, you know, and very, very loving. Anybody who knows me and my daughter, they will tell you, they know for a fact I love that girl. Like, I love her. And she loves me. And it's different. It's a beautiful kind of love. And I felt it and I enjoyed it and I just loved every bit of it. Way! But I love that she's very open with me. Because that is one thing I've wanted when it comes to motherhood. Yeah, I wanted to be a mother who provides a very safe space for their child. With overcompensation, let me tell you, I do struggle with that a lot. I do overcompensate a lot. And everybody, my friends, my family, my mom tells me that a lot. I do. Like nimemdekeza. Kila nimemdekeza. She's so spoiled because everything. When it comes to the love, it's like, and then, you know, the one thing that hurts me sometimes is how she lacks a father figure in her life. And I do overcompensate with that as well. It's not just about me, my experience as a child. It's just the way with her, the lack of father. And I feel like she might be missing out on that sometimes. I feel like she could be hurting when it comes to that. So I overcompensate with everything, with the love, with her, and everything she wants. She will come to me and ask for very unnecessary things. And I'll just be there, I'm like, maybe anaambia huko kwingine baba yao. And I would try as much as I cannot fill that space. I do struggle with that a lot, to be honest. I do. Even I let her do a lot of things, yeah. I let her, because sometimes even when it comes to punishing her, because I don't want her to feel like she's not loved. Like, I don't want her to feel like she's not loved. You know, I don't want her to feel like to grow up sad. I want her to feel like excited about life. That is what I want for her. And sometimes people say like, it's okay for you to be vulnerable around your children. But I'm like, I don't want to make her carry the weight, the emotional weight, the emotional baggage for me. I don't want. Because when you see your parent sad, it does something to you. And I do not want her to experience that at all. So she only sees me smiling. Sometimes I can be frustrated, yes. But I say sorry a lot, even to her, a lot. You can say sorry, and I was frustrated. And I apologize to her, and I just want a very peaceful homestead for her. There is this one experience I had, and it is something that have you ever seen death with your own eyes like this? You saw death. I was dating a person I thought like was a very good person, because when we met, the first time we met here, you know, people who love bomb you, very good people. Oh my God! And you know me, I'm very delusional. Anytime somebody does love bomb me, I feel like it is love, because I feel like, you know, it is okay for you to spend that much on me the very first day you see me. You know, I'm too pretty to not spend, you know. I'm very delusional when it comes to these things. I don't know how to read it when somebody is just love bombing. No idea, you know. So I was there, the first 1 month or two. Mapenzi, my Lord. And it was so hard for me to read control because of it. I don't know if you've ever experienced, I don't know if I should call them narcissists, but it's like they read you before they start acting. They read you to the T. They knew everything I loved. Oh my God. How I wanted to be loved. Very performative human beings. Very oh my God, they would perform it. They would perform it. And then it started being controlling. And it was very subtle at first. The control was very, very subtle. You know, don't talk to this person. There's a friend of mine I had at the time, a very good friend, but this human being hated my friend. All of a sudden, I stopped talking to this friend. And that was when I had already started my career. Yeah, I was already in my career, and I had a school around Kilimani. So I would go to school. And remember, I have a home. I have a house of myself with my daughter. My majority of the time, I would spend where? This other side. Because apparently when I go home, sijui uko na nani. Na niko na mtoto kwa nyumba, like, sijui uko na nani. Kidogo kidogo, control, kidogo kidogo. And then, eventually, it got to a point where if I am to get out of the house, lazima ni mtu wake anipeleke. You know? Either ni mtu wa boda, Uber guy wake, like somebody. It has to be just somebody. Lazima anipeleke, nifike hapo. Nichungwe kama, hata sijui mayai, nichungwe. And then all of a sudden, now, you know, unfortunately for such kind of, you think they love you so much. Kumbe hakuna love hapo. They just want to be in control. Hakuna cha love. It's just control they seek. There's nothing about love there. Me, I'm thinking I'm loved. Hey, the guy is cheating properly. Hey, wanawake. Mara atijia ameenda party sijui na kina nani. And you know me, because I want you to have your life. Don't live your life for me. I don't like that. I want you to live your life. If you want to go out, it's okay. But you tell me, I don't do anything bad, I'm good. Oi. Sijampatana na nani huko. Sijampatana na nani wiki. Wasichana. And the way this human being knew how to flirt. Ulikuwa unapata messages paka naenda shule sasa. Unashindwa kuwa hurt. Kwa sababu the way anaingiza wasichana box. Where words. Oh my God. The way I would make you do. Nilikuwa nazisoma paka nasema mimi mwenyewe nasiambiwangu hivi lakini hii ni mistari bana. You're talented in this thing, man. Kuna siku I'm being called, I don't know what time of the night. Yeah, and it's a girl calling me na simu yake. Nashanga, alafu akasema hello. So, unajua wewe ndio demu yake, akakata. So unajua kitu inakuasha. 2 AM almost. Nikatoka nyumbani. Ubashwi kwenda. Nimeenda kwake confront, sasa sijui mbona confrontation ingesaidia nini, hata yenyewe ujinga tu. Because ingesaidia na nini? Nimefika. Napata msichana na yeye wanashuka stairs pamoja. They just walking, okay? Majestically. Msichana kaniona niko hapo like, what is happening? Nikamuuliza, what exactly is happening? Hey babe, hakuna, this is just my friend. What do you mean this is just... Mimi nakimbia kwenda kuangalia bedroom. Naingia kwa bedroom, it is smelling like very heavy scent of that. And then I see there is a pant ya msichana hapo na bra. I am livid. Mtu anakuja juu, anafungua mlango. Amenipata kwa bedroom nikiangalia. Anafunga mlango. Na nje, amenifungia ndani ya hii bedroom. I am smelling all these things. Nimefungiwa ndani. Kwanza alikuja, akaniangalia, when you say, like, I am so livid, paka, it's just tears. Akachukua simu yangu, like, akaninyang'anya simu. Akatoka nje, akafunga mlango. I don't have any need of contacting anybody. I'm just in that room alone. I don't know where he went. Alienda. Akarudi. Nimelia, paka machozi imeisha. Akarudi. Tell me why niligongwa. Nilipigwa kwa hiyo room, unafikiri mchezo? Nilipigwa because I wanted to leave. These people who are physically, these violent human beings, physically abusive, anytime you threaten to leave, they hapo ndo unakuanga sawa shetani. That is the time, oh my God, yo. No wonder women say, be strategic about it. Because the moment you utter, I am leaving. Oh, niligongwa. Nimelia, nimechoka. Sina simu, nimechoka kulia. Na mtu, and then this motherfucker forced themselves on me that day. Same night. Imagine in that room that is smelling, you can see. Nilifika point paka nimeishiwa because it got to that point. I stopped fighting back. Niliishiwa kabisa, stop fighting back. Nimekaa hapo kama statue. Nikamwacha tu amalize cha nataka kufanya. Like paka nimekuwa numb, emotionally numb. I'm just numb. Akamaliza. Katoka kanifungia baada hapo ndani, hata sikulia tena. Hapo kwenye aliniacha nilibaki hapo. Akarudi, what are you still doing there? Ndio nikaamka. Nikaoga. Sikumwambia natoka. Had to pretend we are very good. I'm sorry. Imagine, it was so disgusting. Oh man, I remember that it's so disgusting. I felt like puking, man. Imagine I had to say sorry. For what? Sorry. And then I said, niko na client. Wakesho, hata sikusema wa leo. Kwa sababu ningesema wa leo ningeona huyu anadanganya. Wakesho, I had to stay there to clean up that mess. The next day nikatoka. Venye niliblock. And wacha nikwambie kama kuna mtu mwenye alinipatia stress ni huyu. Niliblock. Unfortunately, anajua kwenye naishi. Alikuwa anatafuta everywhere. When I'm going somewhere, I don't know, anajuaje niko kwenye niko. You're wearing white. A new number. Kuna time akanipata. No, to be honest, no, hakunipata. There is a time, let me, trauma bonding is crazy, man. Because even if you were to ask me why that happened, I wouldn't know what to tell you. Can you imagine I went back? If you ask me why, I don't know. I did go back because they come and they apologize mara 100 huko. Oh my God. With the things they know I love, you know. And then I went back. Did it get better? No. I went back and then nikampata na flat. Msichana tena mwingine. So sikumwambia I'm leaving immediately, yeah. So nilikuwa nimepanga because najua nikisema I'm leaving, it's a problem. So I said I'm going to buy I don't know what. There's something I wanted to buy outside or lied about buying. But unfortunately, nilikuwa nimesha Uber, alafu nikacha simu face upside. So akaona Uber. Inanipeleka kwangu. Akaniuliza, where are you going? Mbona umeita Uber? Nikamwambia mistake, siku nataka kuita Uber, nikagongwa. Hiyo ndio time sasa niligongwa proper. Oh my God. Nikapelekwa kwa bedroom, umeshikwa kama nikapelekwa, akafunga tena mlango, na kufunga alikuwa na tabia kunifungia kwa room wewe. Akafunga hiyo bedroom, na this time alikuwa na mimi kwa ndani hiyo. Niligongwa. Two hands. Alafu this person, oh my God, strong human being, ameninyonga na two hands hivi juu yangu, ameninyonga. I started bleeding, man. Nose bleeding. I was nose bleeding. And then I was pleading for my life. I'm like, oh my God, please, you're going to kill me. And I kept saying it, utaniua. You're going to kill me, tutakufa wote kwa nyumba. Nikamwambia, I have a daughter. Yeah, I'm trying every other day. Like, I have a daughter, please don't do anything. The daughter will be okay. Tutakufa hapa kwa nyumba. Like, unaona ni kama like, I don't know. It's like the person you were dating and this person that is doing this. It's like two different. Ni kama kamnyama. You can't recognize this person at all. Nimenyongwa. Alafu nikafanya mistake, nikapiga nduru. Hawatapendangi hiyo kitu. Because now you're attracted. Nikafungwa mdomo sasa na kunyongwa. I swear to God, I felt so light. I thought I was dying. That day I knew I was dying. I knew that day mimi nilikwenda nimeenda. At this point, I'm questioning whether I deserve love. Because if it's being a good partner, I am. If it is, the description they make of how you should be a good, girlfriend, essentially as a woman, I have been that. And unfortunately for me, I was not just questioning it in terms of the relationship alone. I was questioning my whole life. Whether I deserved love, my whole entire life. Like, sometimes one thing can trigger a lot of other things as well. So I'm there thinking, like, wait, I'm not lucky when it comes to love. Whether it is with partners, whether it's with other people, like, I'm not just lucky. I'm not a lucky person when it comes to love. And I'm like, do I really deserve love? I felt very unworthy to be of love, to be honest. Because I've tried. I have tried. When it comes to love, I've tried. Even with my parents, I have tried. With friendships, I have tried. But it keeps happening. And I'm like, I think love is not for me. I don't know kama alijishika katikati akaona yenyewe ukweli msichana atakufa. Akawachilia, akaenda kitchen kwanza kupika. Sasa ndo nini yake ya apology. You see what you made me do? Like, that is what they say. You see what you made me do? That is not how I act. You made me do this. Nenda kupika. Mimi nimeacha huko. I had to dust. Nikajifanya sasa again like we are okay. Na alikuwa anapika, nikamwambia bana, can I listen to music? Akasema okay. Nikaeka music loud. Niliweka music loud. Na alikuwa anapika tena nipikia. Alafu nikaangalia mlango, imefungwa but haijafungwa na the lock. Nikajua hii ndi chance yangu ya kutoka. Unfortunately, there is another gate huko mbele. But niliona hii ndio chance yangu ya kutoka. So hiyo music niliweka, unajua loud proper, ndio nikifungua mlango asisikie. And I kept going to the kitchen to check. And I'm there, I'm coming behind, I'm hugging. I'm like, oh, thank you for cooking for me. And I'm there all lovey-dovey. Ndi asishuku. Nimeitisha ubangu. Alafu nimetext the Uber guy. Nimemwambia, ukifika hapo kwa gate, akiniulizia kama kuna mtu anaweza nisaidia kufungua hiyo gate. Na usinipigie. Don't call. Just text.